Hello, hello, and hello. It has been a very, very long time. In fact, I think it's been over 3.5 years since I made my inaugural video. And I'm back, and I'm gonna talk a little bit today. So, you may be wondering, where the heck have you been for the past 3.5 years? What have you been up to? Well, first things first, obviously I survived grad school. You know, that was the whole spiel. It's been a wild ride. When I made that video, that was in January 2020, just before COVID hit. Nobody knew what was gonna happen. I was just making a video or two, and then I started making those silly quarantine videos for fun. And then, wow, life changed a lot. So fast forward a little bit from that video and my quarantine videos. We went into lockdown, we did our online Zoom U, and in August of 2020, I finished a master's program in economics. Then I actually started a PhD program at the same school because at the time, basically nobody was hiring, the job market was really weird, and the school was like, hey, do you want to just come do a PhD? Like, you have to formally apply, but you got it. And I was like, all right, fine. That's what I did. And I went and did that. And immediately I was miserable. Friends, let me tell you, it was not great. When you are sitting in your bedroom and it's the typical Pacific Northwest weather and you're listening to some 80-year-old prof draw lambda, delta, gamma on his little tablet and it's all squiggly and you're like, what am I reading? What am I doing? Fast forward a little bit and I was kind of not doing too great in this online PhD Zoom U. Decided to take a leave. I went home for Christmas, visited my parents and everything, came back and decided that I wasn't going to continue with the PhD. It's January, the job market is tough, don't know what to do with myself, struggling. Finally, a couple months later, I find a job randomly on LinkedIn. I apply on a Friday night. I read the job description. I'm like, you know what? I can do that job. I could totally do that. So I applied, didn't hear anything for a bit. Then finally got a couple of interviews with other companies. And then these guys that I'm currently working at, they came back and they interviewed me as well. And then it came down to 2 employers. And basically the one hired me. And then the next day, the other one said no. But then when on my day of starting with my current employer, the other employer came back, reached out to me and was like, hey, do you want a job? It didn't work out with the other dude. And I'm like, no, I'm good. Anyhow, I've been doing that for the past 2.5 years now, and it has been tough. I work in consulting, and it's not the easiest at all times, I can tell you that. But have I learned a lot? Yes, I have. And that's what I'm doing. So now that it's been a couple years since I've been out of grad school, I think it's a good time to reflect and make an updated video. Also, people keep watching the original video that I uploaded. It's kind of crazy to me, like 2,200 views, give or take, on a video that I made randomly on Christmas break a couple years ago, more than a couple years ago. And I was just talking, you know what? I miss making videos and that's where I'm at. So I'm gonna make an updated one for you all. We're gonna go into it right now. Basically, I'm gonna look at it from the perspective of someone who's been out of grad school for a bit and think about what it meant to be in that position, and do I miss it, and also what would I do differently. Before I jump into it, I need to have another sip of coffee because my brain is just not working. I came back from a run today after doing a hike yesterday. Why am I making this video right now? I don't know. I'm doing it because I feel compelled. That's why I'm doing it. The first thing I think that I want to talk about is that when you enter grad school, it can be really scary. It can be really, really daunting. Depending on the program that you enter, they basically treat it like it's an all or nothing kind of opportunity. It's high stakes. And for a lot of people, it really is, especially if you're an international student and you're coming from somewhere else, coming to Canada, coming to the US, wherever. Like, this could be your one shot to basically lead a different life or lead a better life or whatever your goal is, right? So, of course, if you don't do well, it's scary. But that being said, what I learned with grad school is that you will get through anything that you're facing. It's not that hard in the sense that there are so many people who get through these programs and they don't want you to fail. It looks bad for them if you fail. So they're going to do anything in their power. As long as you put in the work, and you have a little bit of grit, you're gonna pass, you'll be fine. And honestly, if you don't wanna do a PhD after, your GPA doesn't really matter. Now, don't get me wrong, in my workplace and whenever we hire on my team, we do actually ask new graduates for their GPA and their transcript and everything like that. But honestly, I don't look at them that much. I look at their writing abilities and I want to meet the person. The number is it's just a number at the end of the day. Big takeaway there is just try to make the most of grad school, because it's your last little bit of freedom before you get out into the job market. And now every single day, I wake up, I go to my office, I sit in front of my computer for 8, 10, 11, 12 hours, depends on the day. That's my day, Monday to Friday. And I do the same thing on repeat. I put on my little headset, I take my calls, make a deck, make a report, that's my life. So grad school is your last little bit of freedom, that if you don't want to do something on a certain day and you don't have any obligations, you can go on a hike. You can go watch a movie, a midday movie, which is also like something I really want to do. I haven't done it forever. And honestly, it's kind of the last time that you'll allow yourself to be knowingly kind of poor. You're not making a lot of money. Maybe you're not making any money at all. Maybe it's a professional master's, but it's the last little bit of like, hey, I'm not working really hard to get this salary, because you're not really getting a salary. It's just like a stipend or whatever. So I'll just enjoy my life because I'll make money in the future. But I find when you're in the job market and you're working very hard, you're busting your butt every day, it's a lot harder to want to spend the money, or at least it is for me, especially in this day and age. I mean, we're in 2023, midway through, and you guys know how expensive things are. So it's just that last little bit of freedom. So number one, your grades don't matter, have fun, just enjoy. Before I head on to my second point though, I need a different beverage because your boy thirsty. Okay, so we got ourselves a little coconut water here, and we're gonna open it up while we talk about the rest of our, this is a paper straw. That's pathetic. That is not as good as I thought it would be. I can't get over how like not good this is. UFC, unified freaking crap. That's what I'm gonna call it. It's not great. Ugh. Ugh. So back where I was. So not only would I say have fun, I think number two is embrace the opportunities that you have before you. Go to any of those seminar talks, go to any networking events. There are so many opportunities for students that you don't really realize until you get out and you start working and maybe you think back a little bit. You are allowed to talk to people and be naive because you're a student and you can operate under that guise. So just go and network more. Get your ass off the couch, instead of sitting after a long day doing TA work and marking and studying, whatever, and go and grab a coffee with somebody, go network a little bit. And now, because we're in post-COVID too, we can have the hybrid networking opportunities, which I don't condone. Like, honestly, these virtual networking events, not great. But what you can do is have a virtual coffee chat with somebody that's halfway across the world, and you can hear about what it's like to be, I don't know, doing what they do. And honestly, what I would do is probably go on LinkedIn and look up people that have a very similar master's to you and follow their career paths and listen, ask them for advice, ask them if they'd be your mentor. Anything like that. Number three is, I'd say probably it's almost more like a 1B, but it's really just enjoy each day. It goes fast. It really does. When you're in the heat of it, you're sitting in your office and you're studying with your group. If you're getting heated over some math problem or some paper that you're reading and nobody seems to agree on anything, man, I miss that. That camaraderie. You don't always get that in the real world, especially not in a hybrid office job where you're working with people across the country. You might not ever see them physically. There are just so many things that I miss in that regard. Do I miss the lack of salary? No. Do I miss the copious amounts of stress? Because of course the grass is always greener. No, because my work stress is a different type of stress. On net, I think I would definitely approach it differently now. I would say the big thing though is just trying to make the most of it and have fun, and don't put so much pressure on yourself because it's not worth it. Look, there's already like everyone else is putting pressure on you. You got to look out for yourself, because if you're not doing it, who's going to? You know, you might have a prof that takes interest in you. You might have a counselor, like a guidance counselor or something, that takes interest in you, but you got to take care of yourself. And that's really important. You have to make the most of it. It's not worth going gray over your GPA. That was an unintentional rhyme, but it worked. You know what, just thinking here, I'll actually add some follow-on advice. The coffee's hitting me and now I'm thinking about it. Ow, I just hit my face. So my follow-on advice would be, do something that you want to do, not the safe bet. I'm definitely in what's kind of the safe bet right now, and it's easier said than done, and I'm not doing it either, but don't be afraid to take some time off after you're done school either. Don't just launch into your career. Don't just be antsy to get into the job market, because as I said before, you're 9 to 5 or 9 to question mark, you know, however many hours you work, you're gonna be there for years. Just get out and see things. Don't let the chains of anxiety hold you back from doing anything you want to do, even if it is completely different than what you initially thought you would do. It doesn't have to be related to your degree. I'm gonna be honest, I use about 2% of what I learned in the master's program. In fact, I probably use more from undergrad than anything. So, you know, that's just telling you as well. If you're not gonna do a PhD, don't worry about it. Just learn the stuff and move on. But with that, I'd love to start making more videos again. This one was a little bit scattered, but we're back. Really thank you to those that have actually watched that original video I posted all that time ago. Feels like an eternity considering what we've all gone through. But until then, you know what? Just keep going, enjoy. If you finish grad school and you watch my original video, it'd be kind of cool to hear where you're at now too, so that'd be really neat. Just, you know, put a comment. I like to respond to them. If you ever need any advice, feel free to drop me a DM. You know where I'll be. Easy.